Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures are currently trading above fair value. Dow futures currently up 160 points. So the futures look pretty much like they did yesterday morning at this time. Now, while stock index futures are trading higher, commodities are trading lower. We've got gold down about $20 in the pre-market, and we've got Bitcoin trading higher. Now, we have a whole bunch of economic numbers coming out this morning. The most important one is the jobless claims that could certainly change the direction of the market on Thursday morning. Well, yesterday was another Fed day, and of course, on Fed days, we expect volatility to expand after 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and that is certainly what happened yesterday, and then some. There's the VIX for the S&P 500, for the NASDAQ, for the Russell 2000. Quite an impressive move for the VIX yesterday. Now, when the VIX spikes like this, which is rather dramatic, as you can see, we took out the highs from back in September and October. Uh, we often see the market reverse from this point and start to move higher. So there's a potential for a bottom here, but there's no actual evidence of that just yet. We'll need to wait a few days to see how the market reacts. Over the next couple of days, we are trading higher in the pre-market, but not enough to do any damage to yesterday's big losses. Now, last week, I prodded you to make sure that you'd taken some money off the table, and hopefully you did that. Of course, if you're a member, you've got your trading roadmap already intact, and hopefully you put orders in where you're supposed to put orders and locked in profits. Now, there's an old saying in the stock market that the market moves up on an escalator and comes down on an elevator. And what that means is that it can take several months for the market to move up, but it can take just a day or two to give up all those gains. And coming into yesterday's trading action, we knew that most of the stocks in North America were on short-term sell signals. And here's what the Russell 2000 looked like on Tuesday. And here's what it looked like on Wednesday. So very quickly giving up all the Trump win gap gains. And so here we are back at levels we haven't seen since October. And all of the reaction move off of the election, that has all been wiped out. Now, we knew the market was being held up by just a small group of stocks, and here's what the Magnificent 7 ETF looked like on Tuesday. Here's what it looks like this morning. And so we are still on a buy signal here, even though some of the stocks in this ETF have rolled over, including Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft. And yesterday we were talking about Microsoft breaking through 437.50, hitting up to our next target of 453.13. And then within one day, we're back at 437.50. If that support level breaks, then look for a move down to 421.88. Then we've got Shopify in New York and Shopify in Toronto, both back on sell signals as of Wednesday's close. Now, one of the things that was a little off in the market was the fact that the Dow actually had a bearish reversal signal back on November 29th, and that signal was never taken out. We never closed above the high of that day since, even though the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 continued to make higher highs, the Dow started to move lower. And while I talk about the fact that the Dow is not that important and is certainly a darling of the media, it is the oldest index out there. And I was reminiscing about the fact that, back in the day, if you were listening to the news, they'd talk about the Dow Transports, and the Dow Utilities. And with all of those leading the market lower, I thought that was rather odd. And of course, here we are now looking at the equal weighted S&P 500, which broke down not only below the Trump gap, but look at that. We broke down below the lows from late November, and we are back trading at levels we haven't seen since September. So that is the S&P 500 equal weighted. So those big cap tech stocks don't overwhelm the index. And here's what the S&P 500 SPY looks like on Thursday morning. So huge move down yesterday. Certainly, if you hadn't taken any money off the table, this will turn out to be a losing trade. But luckily, we had the $600 level and then 609.38 as two targets to take money off the table. So hopefully you locked in profits at the those particular times. And, I prodded you last week to take some money off the table. So hopefully yesterday's big down move in the SPY isn't going to hurt you too much. And there's the equal weighted NASDAQ. We talked about that. It was on a sell signal. So was the next generation NASDAQ. And now we have the NASDAQ 100 rolling over. Again, we've had several opportunities to take money off the table. So hopefully that big down move isn't going to hurt you too much. And here we are sitting on support at 515.63. It'll be interesting to see if 500 holds if we continue to move lower from here. Certainly 500 is a big round number, and it's an area that the market would probably like to hold on the way down. Speaking of big round numbers, we talked about the fact that the NASDAQ composite had run up to the 20,000 level, and it hung around there for a few days and then came down yesterday. And so here we are sitting on support, and you can see where the next support level is at 18,750. Now, moving over to the Canadian market, we came into yesterday with the TSX 60, mid caps, small caps, and micro caps, all on daily sell signals. So that has not changed. The energy sector continued to move lower yesterday, down another 1.88%, and coming right down to the September lows. Then we've got gold stocks. We're down over 3% on the day, nearly 4%, trying to hold the lows from November. And of course, we've got gold trading lower in the pre-market this morning. And any mining stock basically got hit yesterday. There's the global mining index breaking down below the November lows. Then the industrials were already on a sell signal, no change there. Now we've got Infotech back on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close. Of course, Shopify has a big part in that sell signal. Real estate making a new low yesterday, a new low for the telecom sector, and a new low for utilities. Let's finish off today's presentation looking at the most actively traded stocks, starting in Toronto. On the TSX, we had a new low yesterday for Canadian Natural Resources, a new low for this move for Suncor. Then we've got Enbridge moving lower on Wednesday. No change in trend, certainly for Cenovus, new closing low there. And certainly we're trading below the September lows for Cenovus. TD Bank still on a sell signal, no change there. No change for Bitfarms. New low for Pembina on Wednesday. Then we've got CIBC rolling over, back on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close, joining TELUS, already on a sell signal, of course, making a new low for this move. Then we had a new low for BCE before recovering and closing up 2 cents on the day. So nothing new going on there for BCE. Moving on to the U.S. most actives, we had a new high for Rigetti on Wednesday. No change in trend for NVIDIA. NVIDIA traded up into the channel and then came down, did not close below at Tuesday's low. So that's a bullish sign for NVIDIA. We'll have to see if those lows hold as we move forward here. Then SoundHound made a new high yesterday and held gains going into the close. So congratulations to SoundHound traders. Then Tesla made a new high yesterday, didn't tag 500, pulled back after getting as high as $488.54. Now, on Thursday, we need to close below $402.30 to give us a sell signal for Tesla. Maybe we can take another run at 500. Then looking at Palantir, we're looking for a close on Thursday below $70.12. No joy for NU Holdings, big down day there. Then we've got Lucid still on a buy signal. Things would change for Lucid on Thursday with a close below $2.35. No joy for Ford, making a new low for this move, and Intel making a new low, heading down towards those September lows. And then last up, we've got Archer Aviation putting in a big reversal day yesterday and closing down on the day after hitting a new high. Things would change on Thursday for Archer if we close below $7.51. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. Looking over my shoulder, I see the stock index futures have firmed up a little bit more. Dow futures currently trading up 225 points. At the same time, gold has dropped a little more. It's down 25, and we also have Bitcoin down $2,000 as I speak. Now, everything's going to change after the jobless claims numbers come out at 8:30. But if you've got the market going up and you have sell orders, then sell into strength on Thursday. We have no way of knowing if that was the bottom for this particular move on Wednesday. Only time will tell, and we'll certainly keep an eye on it. But for me to turn from being short-term bearish, which I was going into yesterday's trading action, to short-term bullish, you've got to see a huge move down in the VIX, and we're not going to see that on Thursday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Next time you'll hear my voices on Friday morning, and at that time we'll take a look at the leveraged ETFs.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.